Welcome to The Wing, the emotional and financial health check you never knew you needed. We provide tangible solutions for young women to build emotional health and wealth on their journey from school to motherhood. This is the podcast for young women in Australia navigating the big stuff: life, money, and motherhood. From high school to first homes, babies to bank accounts, we take you on an interactive listening journey that helps you make smart, empowered decisions every step of the way.
Hello, ladies. Welcome to another episode of The Wing. Today, we are going to talk about some funny things that happened over the break. We're going to call it spilled milk and ChatGPT results. Oh, it's funny. It's going to be funny. I hope so. Well, it might not be funny. It might be relatable, which is also the goal. I covered off on a previous episode about our experience with our baby daughter in the NICU for a month and a crazy end to 2025. So we're sitting in 2026 now. So it's time to reflect, according to me. So Jake and I decided that we would go to a festival. We went to Spilt Milk, and neither of us been to a festival for a very long time. The last thing I went to, I was 20 weeks pregnant with our third baby, and I went to Katy Perry, but I got allocated a seat and I went with a really good friend of mine, and we had a very, nice calm time. But for some reason, we decided that we should go to a festival. We loaded up on babysitters, so we had a house all sorted. On the Thursday before the festival, Jake said to me, so I've been stressing, right? I was stressing about this festival. I just thought, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do it. And on the Thursday, he said, so what's the plan for Saturday? I said, oh my God, I'm so stressed. I have to line up to go to the toilet. I have to line up to get drinks that I don't want to drink, like the sugary drinks that they sell there. And there's going to be too many people, and I'm not going to have any phone reception. And we're going to have to get public transport there and back. And what if there's too many people and I can't get an Uber, or what if I get trapped there? And he just said to me, wow. I said, so I didn't answer your question about Saturday, but now you know how I'm feeling. So I was completely stressed. I thought, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Oh, anyway, we decided to go. So we went to the festival, and I got over the fact that all of those things I didn't want to do is a cocktail of my worst nightmare. We got there, we stayed for an hour and a half, and we left. We actually went back into the city and stopped at a restaurant, and there was an acoustic player there, an acoustic guy, and it was just us and him, the air conditioning, the drinks we wanted. Then we went and had dinner, and we actually asked the hotel people. There was a lot of very serious people standing around. The headline act for Spilt Milk was Kendrick Lamar, which I had no intention of going to anyway because that was late at night. And I said, is Kendrick staying here? And the fellas at the bar turned around and they said, we can't tell you that. And I was like, oh my gosh, we got closer to Kendrick than anybody. We didn't even have to be at the stupid festival. It wasn't a stupid festival, sorry. The event organisers did a wonderful job. It just wasn't my scene. It just wasn't for me. So there was that. So that happened. Then I suppose after that, it was a festive season, right? So, Jake's wanting to get out and do stuff. I was not really wanting to get out and do that much stuff. I mean, I don't mind my time away from the house, but, new baby and trying to settle into things. Jake would ask me a question sort of, every couple of days. Like his outlet is to, kind of go to the club or see his mates, and he's only ever gone for a couple of hours. But I was just getting really insecure at nighttime because our older two kids, who are still only 2.5 and 1.5, would, go to bed at 6 o'clock every night, down straight away, no resettling, all sorted. And I think we haven't taken it for granted, but it was definitely a benefit for a very long time. Introducing a new baby into the house meant that obviously those things got tipped on their head. So we're now settling the kids later than we planned, and Jake leaving the house at 6:30, to go do whatever, go have dinner somewhere or go catch up with his mates, was just becoming more and more off the cards. I didn't know the answer. Like Jake would ask me, do you think it'd be okay if I went tonight? I'm like, look, it's not up to me. It's literally up to our 3 kids. Like if there's 1 up, there might be 2 down. If there's 2 up, there might be 1 down. Like it means at any point in time that there's at least someone that I need to look after in this nighttime period. I'm getting a bit of a better handle on it now, whereas we know we can put the older 2 down and they will probably need a little bit of resettling, and then we've just got the baby until about 9 o'clock and then she goes down. But it was just this we are in a transitional period right now. Like, don't get me wrong, just we are 3 months in, she's 3 months old. So we are no means in, a set routine. Every day is slightly different, but it's hard to predict. Like, we can't necessarily predict what's going to happen. Anyway, I had a big meltdown, as I do, big mentee bee, and I was lost. It's like, what do I do? I was like, I said to Jake, I said, I'm not communicating with you properly. I feel like we're missing each other. I feel like I'm stopping you from doing what you want to do. I feel like at the same time, I don't have enough freedom. At the same time, we have a new baby at home, and I want us to both be trying to enjoy that. And I want to make sure that our toddlers are okay and safe and happy this whole time. So a lot of things were spinning around my head, and I was not communicating properly. I was short with Jake, or I would just not communicating properly, just not being myself and not being able to talk through it with him, because then I felt guilty for saying no to things or whatever, and then I just went back to feeling like I was the boss again, and that's lonely at the top. That's what I said to him, actually. He was like, yeah. He's like, well, you are the boss. I'm like, well, I don't want to be the boss. I want to be a co-worker. I don't want to run this ship and have full responsibility. I'm not the CEO. I do not want that role. I'm happy to be the general manager, but I'm also happy to have a break from that role too. Can we just be colleagues for a while? Anyway, so I went over to ChatGPT, which is a fantastic tool. I'm sure most of you use it. I didn't realize how useful it actually was. Very good for our relationship. So I typed into ChatGPT. I don't actually have the question here that I typed in, but you'll get it from the answers that I got back. I basically was saying, why do I feel so uneasy when my husband leaves, when we have 2 toddlers and a newborn baby in the house? She was 9 weeks old at the time I did this. I feel guilty and I don't know what to do. I want him to have his freedom, but I don't know how to grant that and not be thrown in the deep end myself, like sacrifice myself so that, Jake can do what he needs to do, and obviously vice versa as well. So ChatGPT said this: what you're feeling is very common, especially with a 9-week-old baby and 2 toddlers. It doesn't automatically mean you're being unfair or controlling. There are some very real reasons this can feel so intense right now. Here are the few factors that often stack together in this stage of your life. 1, you're in a vulnerable postpartum period. At 9 weeks postpartum, your body and brain are still recovering. Hormones are fluctuating, sleep is usually broken, and your nervous system is under strain. Strong emotions like anger, sadness, or resentment can show up faster and louder than usual, even if they weren't there before. Oh, they're always there, but they don't always come out. It's probably what. 2, you carry the constant responsibility. Even if you are only working 5 hours a week, I'm working 5 hours a week at the moment. I think I must have written that in there as well. You are also likely on duty day and night. You're managing feeding, soothing routines and appointments, mentally tracking everyone's needs when your husband goes out at night. It can trigger, I never get to clock off. Why does he get freedom when I don't? I'm stuck holding everything together. That's not jealousy, that's exhaustion and imbalance. Now, this is not an attack on Jake, by the way, because after I'm going to read the rest of this, but after Jake and I shared all this with Jake, and he said to me, I said, how do you feel after reading that ChatGPT response? And he said, I feel validated. And I was like, so do I. ChatGPT even put some nice emojis throughout the responses. I think they could tell that who are they? I don't know. They could tell that I was needing a little pep up. 3, it can feel like abandonment, not logic. This is important. Your anger may not really be about him going out. It may be about feeling left alone when you're already stretched thin, wanting support, rest, or reassurance, feeling unseen for how hard this season is. Your nervous system might interpret this absence as I'm not supported, even if intellectually he works hard. That's the other thing. When Jake's not at home, he's working. And when he's at home, he's working. And when he's with the kids, he's working, looking after them. I mean, he's got a finite amount of time at the beginning and the very end of the day where he's not doing any of those things. And same, I probably get more downtime than he does because I've got the sleeping baby to look after 24/7. So, she, as I record this, again, on the monitor, asleep. So I feel like this is, the downtime that I can get to get headspace back, whereas he actually has a limited time to do that. So again, this is not a crap on Jake episode. This is how did we come together in the end? 4, breadwinner versus caregiving imbalance. I had some juicy voice notes with some friends over the break about this. When one partner earns money and the other does most of the caregiving, it's easy for his work to feel validated and your work to feel invisible. So when he gets leisure time, it can feel unfair because your labor doesn't come with breaks. Are you being unfair, Katey? You're not wrong for how you feel. What matters is how it's handled, not whether the emotion exists. A more helpful question than am I being unfair might be, what do I need that I'm not getting? Do I get equal chances to rest, leave the house, or feel like myself? What can help? Talk about needs, not permission. Instead of you can't go out, try I'm overwhelmed at night and I need more support or recovery time. Balance nights out. If he has nights out, you should also have protected time, even if that's sleep, a walk, or quiet time alone. For me, it's a sauna or a bath, sleep, a walk. I have a walking pad now, so that's gonna be something that I factor into my days. Also recording this podcast. This for me is my freedom time, a time to chat and put all of my stuff on all of my listeners. No, I try to help. What are those things? What are things that I can do that help me recharge and feel rested? Check in on your mental health. If anger feels intense or constant, it's worth talking to a healthcare provider. Postpartum anxiety or depression can show up as anger. Didn't know that. This time postpartum, I feel the least anxious I've ever felt after having a baby, and I don't feel depressed at all, which is unusual for me. I feel like my anxiety peaked after we had our daughter because she was in the NICU for a month. So I feel like as soon as we got her home, I've just gone straight to gratefulness, which I'm sure as we get into a routine, I'll be searching for those breaks quick smart. But for now, it's interesting that maybe there is some underlying postpartum anxiety and depression, but it's showing up as anger for me every now and again. If you want, I can help you. This is what ChatGPT said. Put words to this in a calm way to talk to your husband. Figure out whether this is normal stress versus a sign that you need more support. Think through what fair could realistically look like in this season. You're not failing. This is hard. It's a heavy chapter and your reaction makes sense. So of course I said, yes, please, ChatGPT, go on. They said, okay, let's make this practical and doable, not theoretical. I'll give you a simple way to understand what's happening inside you, a calm script you can actually use, what fair can look like right now, a quick self-check for when anger spikes. So what's likely happening to you in plain terms? When your husband goes out at night, your body may be reacting before your brain does. Your nervous system might be saying, I'm already maxed out. I don't get to leave. If something goes wrong tonight, it's all on me. That turns into anger. But underneath is often exhaustion, loneliness, fear of being overwhelmed. That is actually a huge one for me. I worry about things that haven't happened yet, which is the definition of anxiety. And I feel like, it's like, oh my God, will I be overwhelmed? What happens if all three are awake at the same time? Like, what will I do at nighttime? I mean, they're awake during the day. That's normal. But resentment about unequal rest, this doesn't mean you don't love him. It means you need support and relief, not logic. Now, I logically know all of those things, but emotionally, it's very hard to differentiate when you're in the moment. A calm script to talk to your husband. I probably didn't need this as much, so it's given me like short and direct, more emotional clarity and a key point. As I said, I shared this with Jake and I thought I don't really need to know how to explain this to you calmly. All I need to do is calm down first and then have a conversation with you or log on to ChatGPT and send it to you. 3, what fair can look like right now. Fair does not mean equal. It means sustainable. Some realistic options for families with newborn and toddlers. Planned nights out, not last minute. A trade system. If you go out Friday night, I get Saturday morning to sleep or leave the house. Nighttime protection. He handles bedtime or early morning before or after a night out, which he actually does. Jake does every morning with the toddlers and every night. He actually doesn't miss any of that. So these are nice reminders that, there's a lot that's happening. Not that I didn't think that, but when I get triggered, as Jake knows best, things come out poorly. A temporary limit, not never go out, but less often until the baby is older. You might want to say, I don't want to say no to nights out. I want to say yes with support attached. That's a fair boundary. When the anger hits in the moment, ask yourself one question. Why am I so mad? Try, what do I need right now that I'm not getting? Sleep, a break tomorrow, reassurance, help with bedtime, to leave the house alone. Once you identify the need, the anger usually softens, and that couldn't be more true. One important check-in, gentle, not scary. If you notice rage that feels out of control, frequent crying, anxiety or dread at night, resentment that doesn't ease even with rest, this can be postpartum mood or anxiety, which often shows up as anger. It's treatable and getting support is a strength, not a failure. You are not unreasonable. You are overextended in a demanding season. If you want, next we can fine-tune the script, work out specific weekly plan, talk through what to do if it gets if he gets defensive. So chat, and then there was my little love heart. So I stopped it there with ChatGPT because I thought I got what I needed from you, and I obviously shared it with Jake. And the fact that he said he feels validated. Now, I've made it sound like Jake goes out a lot. He actually doesn't, but it felt like a lot because there was actually times when he would suggest it and I'd be like, yeah, I think that'll be fine. And then we get to the end of the day and he'd be like, yeah, I'm not going to go. Like, I want to have dinner with you and I just want to chill and watch something on telly. Like, so, there's plenty of times where it's like hasn't actually gone that way. And then the times that he has gone, I have made a conscious effort to make sure that I'm like in the headspace ready to handle it. I'm like, all right, Jake's going. So you're the one that needs to sail the ship. And if one of the kids needs resettling, you're going to do it. And you're not going to have a bath tonight and you're probably not going to have a sauna tonight, but you are going to get a sauna tomorrow. And you're going to sleep in the morning until the baby wakes up because Jake's looking after the toddlers like he does every day. So those positive reminders and that positive reinforcement was extremely helpful. Now, even if your only takeaway from this episode, if you're struggling with something, I would definitely be putting it into ChatGPT, noting that it's not obviously like a psychology service, but I can definitely say that was extremely helpful for us and we were able to nip it in the bud. The next day, we talked about that conversation and we talked about what that meant for both of us, and both of us feeling validated at the end of that conversation was probably all we needed, because sometimes we can't validate each other, or we might try, but it doesn't quite come across as well. I feel like having that exercise and sort of a third party platform come in and explain to us why we feel how we feel, and that we're both right, that was extremely helpful. So that was a short, sharp episode, ladies. I hope you got some value. I hope that helped at least one person out there. It certainly helped 2 people in this house. For now, ladies, that is all. Hope you enjoyed the episode and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The Wing. Bye.
Enjoyed the episode? Hit follow and check out _wingpod Oz on Instagram for a dose of wisdom getting you on the right path to success.